All right, welcome to today's show. So I'm going to jump in with MSTR today. We're going to compare MSTR to Nvidia and see exactly who outperforms who and why this is significant. We're also going to look at BlackRock just achieved a milestone with Bitcoin. I'm going to give you that figure today. And we're going to talk about Stride, the $4.2 billion offering. The strategy keeps coming, keeps coming. It's like the train that keeps coming, choo-choo all day long. So we're going to jump in and hit it all today and rock and roll. Not financial advice, not tax advice, not legal advice. Let's jump in and get going right now. So MSTR beat everything literally. Bitcoin strategy drives an unmatched 3,150% return, depending on what date you do this, from what date to what date, but approximately in the last 5 years, 3,150%. They are crushing it. Saylor's Bitcoin bet wasn't a gamble. Totally genius. Now you stack this up against Apple, gained 88%, Tesla 234% during that time period. Now you can look over 5 years, a different 5-year period, and Apple did 131%. However you want to stack it, MSTR rocks and crushes everything. It eats everything in its way. And Nvidia couldn't even keep up. Saylor turned a software company into the most explosive Bitcoin stock on earth. There's no arguing that. What's up, Knoxville? What's up, Jeff, in the chat there? So MSTR versus Nvidia, why is this important? Look at it, 3,150 for MSTR, Nvidia 1,307%. So Nvidia powers AI, Saylor powers Bitcoin. And this is significant. When you look at AI as being the biggest trend in the marketplace over the last year and 2 years, and strategy, the stock that owns Bitcoin, the company that owns Bitcoin, is literally eating AI's lunch right now in terms of performance compared to Nvidia. So Nvidia's GPUs built ChatGPT and Meta's AI. If you want to know what a GPU is, it's simple. It's just a chip that creates videos and images. That's all it is. So Nvidia has this chip that's building out all this stuff like ChatGPT and Meta's AI, and Saylor's Bitcoin bets beat even the AI boom. So that is a pretty big deal. AI may be the future, but MSTR owns the future of money. There is no dispute about that. Strike and Strife, the secret weapons. We're going to talk a little bit about Stride today. So Strike and Strife, you've heard of these before. The use of these equity shares, because they're preferred stock, has strengthened its balance sheet, because it's another way for strategy just to go out and issue this preferred stock and buy more Bitcoin. We've seen them doing this, and they are crushing it doing it. Strike, stock that gives upside plus income. So people who want income but upside, the ability to convert into the common shares, do Strike. Strife is just steady, 10% yield backed by Bitcoin. People who want the steadiness of that, grab Strife. And these tools continue to help strategy raise more money. So MSTR can buy more Bitcoin and reward investors at the same time. That is the purpose of these products. The news we heard earlier this week, the $4.2 billion Bitcoin machine, the launch of $4.2 billion of Stride preferred stock offering. That's the plan in the marketplace with strategy right now, to raise additional money so they can buy more Bitcoin. What is Stride? It's really simple. It's 10% perpetual stock. Investors get solid income backed by Bitcoin. Why do we love strategy? They hold a lot of Bitcoin. Why do we love strategy? They hold a lot of Bitcoin. What are they doing with these new securities that they're offering up? It's backed by Bitcoin. It's super, super solid, because the Bitcoin is the thing that's backing these things that they're putting out in the marketplace, which is security offerings like perpetual stocks such as Stride, Strife, and Strike. Okay. The money raised goes towards buying more Bitcoin, and it also goes towards paying out dividends. Sometimes people ask, well, how are they going to pay out their dividends? This is it. They're going to raise the money. Some of it goes to pay for Bitcoin. Some of it goes to pay out dividends. Pretty cool, right? So there's that. Stride is like a giant Bitcoin income engine. It's slow, it's safe, it's strong. It attracts the other side of the marketplace, which is the fixed income marketplace. Where are you going to go? Right? It's like, who are you going to call, right? Who are you going to call? You're going to call the traditional bond market and be like, give me 5%, or are you going to get in Stride and go, give me 10%? Fixed, stable, strong. Why is it stable? Because it's backed by Bitcoin. What are you backing bonds by? Some corporation that's like, hey, it's a promise to pay, buy my corporate bonds. Or the government that we trust and love so much with $37 trillion of debt in the US. I'm going to buy your bonds because it's backed by your $37 trillion in debt and your promise to pay. I'm going to bet on Bitcoin 24/7, 365. And investors are waking up to this reality that the only option is investing in stuff like this for people who want more fixed income returns, but double the return. I think it's the only option. I think it's a smart option in the marketplace. All right. Now, what is Stride? We just talked about this. It's a new preferred stock. All right, that's what it is. Stride is a type of investment where you get paid 10% every year. It's safer and more stable than regular stocks because you're getting a fixed income. So you're not investing in MSTR where you're riding the ups and downs like we have been all week long and all year long and all last year long. You're getting just a fixed return in income payment, about 10% every year, depending on what price point you bought the preferred stock at. But you can sell it at any time, so it's easy to trade, which is cool too. And it gives strategy more money to buy Bitcoin. And again, it's attracting a totally different segment of the marketplace, right? Which is cool. So Stride is built to last. We are building the world's largest Bitcoin income security, is what Saylor says. So when you think about this, the world's largest Bitcoin income security, people buy it because they want income off of it. It's a security because they're offering it in the marketplace. It's a preferred stock that they're offering in the marketplace, and it's backed by Bitcoin. That's what he's saying here. Sounds like a good deal to me. So it's not just a random new product. It's designed to grow into a $50 billion asset. It will trade easily. It will stay liquid. It will work long-term. And the 10% yield is perpetual, which basically means it's forever. So they just keep paying it out. Unlike a bond where you would buy and like someone's going to pay you back at the end of 5 years, this is perpetual where somebody buys it and invests in it and it pays them ongoing forever as long as they hold it, which is pretty damn freaking cool, right? So that is the slew of different products, Stride, Strike, and Strife by strategy. The future of fixed income powered by Bitcoin, Stride. The new announcement today is pretty freaking cool. We like it. We're excited about it. I'm excited about it, at least. It's a win-win cycle. You earn, right? So MSTR grows, Bitcoin rises, and Stride strengthens. That's basically how the win-win cycle goes, all right? MSTR joins the big leagues. In case you haven't heard, no, this is not the S&P 500. Although many people are talking about the S&P 500 index, we know the strategy qualified for it, yet it has to go to a vote, and sometime in September, let's hope that they get added in September. If they get added in September, the S&P 500, we're talking about billions and billions and billions of dollars of inflow, which is huge. The Russell top 200 index is still large companies. It's the top 200 companies, but the flows from the Russell index are way, 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 way less than the S&P 500. Still good news. Still great because passive flows will go into strategy, but nowhere compared to the whale of the S&P 500 index. So that's what the Russell Top 200 index. In case you missed the memo on that one, it was kind of overshot because of the S&P news. Everybody's talking about it, but it's still significant. They got added to the Russell Top 200 index, which shows the strategy is becoming more and more and more of a beast in the marketplace and more accepted in the marketplace and more mainstream, which we like it. I like it. Hopefully you like it too. Okay. So that is that. And what that means to give you, again, this index includes the biggest, most trusted companies. The Russell Top 200 being included equals more big investors buy your stock. Saylor turned MSTR into a mainstream mega cap with Bitcoin at the core. All right. Who would have thought a year ago this would happen? But pretty damn exciting. Fabian says in the chat box here, will MSTR at $5,000 when Bitcoin hits $500,000? There's two great charts, and I'll give a plug on this. James from Invest Answers put together a chart that he released today. In fact, I can go pull this up for you real quickly if you'd like, and just pull up what James from Invest Answers says, so you get an idea of basically what Bitcoin. If Bitcoin hits $140,000, so if Bitcoin hits $140,000, so I'll just give you a recent update. So there's some projections that Bitcoin will hit $140,000 by September. There's different analysts talking about. There's different people talking about Bitcoin hitting 140,000 in September. So James from Invest Answers put together a little thing here today. He says if Bitcoin hits 140,000, what is the MSTR price? Now, the MSTR price would be based on the NAV premium, the net asset value, right? So they have the net asset value of the Bitcoin, and then the stock trades at a premium. So when the stock's trading at a premium around 2.0, which it traditionally trades at, it's lower right now. But if it's at a NAV premium of 2.0, which is trading about 2x what Bitcoin does, then an MSTR goes to 100, Bitcoin goes to $140,000, then you would see the MSTR price point at $598. Now, if the NAV premium goes to 2.5, which it did in 2024, it went as high as 4. It was trading a lot during 2024 at 3, and was also frequently in 2024 at 2.5. So assuming the NAV premium goes back up, I think we're going to see it above 2 for sure coming in 2025. 2.5, let's see. But if it goes to 2.5, then the MSTR price is $748 potentially with $140,000 Bitcoin. So the NAV premium has quite a bit to do with it, but also it depends on what your projections are looking for what would happen if Bitcoin went to 180,000 too. So there are very, very bullish case scenarios for what strategy could go to. It depends on the NAV premium, but also depends on what the price of Bitcoin is going to do as well. And then you have varying degrees of prices. There was a good, to give another plug, there was a very good video that was done by Bitcoin Magazine Pro, the guy Matt from Bitcoin Magazine Pro, and then he was with JLD, John Lee Dumas, the other day, and they did a really good interview. You should go watch that one. And Matt from Bitcoin Magazine Pro gives you a really good range of like what strategy you could hit in terms of its performance. And he gives you ranges of strategy doing 180,000, Bitcoin going to 180,000, Bitcoin going to 220,000, Bitcoin going to 250,000. And it shows you the potential where strategy could go. So you're really looking at a range here that if anybody's trying to predict the price of strategy this year, the range is so wide of where it could go. So it's such a wide range depending on the NAV premium of MSTR and also with the Bitcoin price. You really got to look at that. So and how much Bitcoin is being bought consistently by MSTR. So what they did really great in that video where Matt broke down a chart on it from Bitcoin Magazine Pro, and he showed that assuming Bitcoin strategy continues to buy Bitcoin and they get up to 700,000 Bitcoin owned by the end of the year, because right now they're at 600,000 approximately. So they get to 700,000 Bitcoin owned by the end of the year. The NAV premium stays above 2 or 2.5, and Bitcoin goes to XYZ price. Then you could see real potential, highs for MSTR at that point. So you really got to look at it and just take a look at what happens. Fabian, could MSTR hit 5,000 when Bitcoin hits 500,000? The answer to that question is yes, that's possible, because you have to look at, depending what the NAV premium stays at and how much more Bitcoin strategy continues to buy over the years. Now, the things that are consistent with that I can answer on that, Fabian, is that when you look at what Saylor continues to do is he buys Bitcoin every week, except this week, but he's been buying like 9 weeks straight in a row. He's going to continue to buy. So the stable datum on this is that strategy will continue to buy Bitcoin over and over and over again into 2026, 2027, 2028. That's the basic plan of what they intend to do. So 1, will they continue to buy Bitcoin? The answer to that is yes. 2, will the NAV premium stay above 2? Hopefully. 2024 it was, but 2025, we're not seeing that right now. We're seeing 1.6, 1.7. So we're going to see where it goes in 2025. I personally think it's going above 2 at certain points in 2025. And then how much Bitcoin will strategy stack by the end of this year? Do you think they'll get to 700,000 Bitcoin? I think it's possible that they will buy and get to 700,000 Bitcoin by the end of this year. So if you look at that and you look at that plan, they're going to increase their Bitcoin holdings. He's going to continue to buy Bitcoin. The NAV premium is going to be above 2 potentially. Then the question becomes, what does Bitcoin actually go to? Do I think 140 is certainly real? Absolutely. Do I think 140 is real? I'm like, and I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, not financial advice on this. I'm like, I would be content if Bitcoin does 170, and if it gets to 200, I would be thrilled. I don't think we're going to see Bitcoin over 200K this year. That's just my personal viewpoint. Okay. So we'll see what's happens. Could be totally wrong. If Bitcoin goes to 200K, you could be seeing some serious prices with strategy, and what you're seeing right now, and the digits of the 400, which is 3 digits, 1, 2, 3. I think the digits could go into the 4. And I certainly think that strategy breaks $1,000 if Bitcoin goes to 200 grand. Okay. And more. Like, we could be seeing strategy a lot higher. Okay. So let's see what happens. I love Jim D. I love what you're saying there. 200K by Halloween. There's a lot of predictions of what's happening. Will the Bitcoin treasury companies continue to spring up? Yes, we're continuing to see that. There was some more good data from James. I love James from Invest Answers. He's great. And I'll give you another thing that he said. I'm not putting it on the screen, but I'm going to give you another piece that James shared today. James is super data driven, just really fantastic. And so he was talking about what's going to happen in particular with Metaplanet and how Metaplanet has switched their focus. So Japanese MicroStrategy Metaplanet announced that its Bitcoin strategy has entered the second phase, planning to use Bitcoin as collateral leverage to acquire cash flow businesses. Potential targets include Japanese digital banks providing digital banking services that are better than existing retail banks. So they're shifting gears, basically, what that says. I think it's stupid what they're doing. Like, they're on a roll. They're up 9,000%, and they're shifting gears. This is not what James is saying. This is my personal opinion. But they're shifting gears, and they're acquiring businesses, and they're literally going away from their core, which is the MicroStrategy playbook. So, you know, this is and to quote James, with Bitcoin as collateral, a drop in Bitcoin price triggers forced liquidations to cover losses. So they're going out to leverage what they're doing to acquire other companies. And as they go to acquire these other companies that aren't going to cash flow right away or aren't going to increase as much as Bitcoin increases, and they're going to make these moves in the marketplace, Metaplanet, and I think they're just going away from their core strategy of what they're doing, which is the MicroStrategy playbook of acquiring Bitcoin, which got them to 9,000%, and now they're going astray. I think it's stupid. I think it's a mistake, and I think it's a bad move. But I'm not them. So I would love to see them just stick and do the Saylor playbook and keep buying and buying and buying Bitcoin rather than going to acquire, you know, additional companies and cash flow companies. I don't know where that origination came from, but somebody originated. Okay, so that is the story with what's going on with Metaplanet, to give you some input on that and to answer some questions in the chat. So we were on Stride and Strife and Strike. Here's a little funny clip. So this is a movie clip that describes the description of the array of products in traditional finance. So this is James Belushi in a movie clip, and you can imagine the conversation of tell me about your financial products that exist in mainstream financial America or the world and globally. And here's the impression here.
I don't think this is an honest campaign, Spencer.
Honesty, huh? That's good.
Are you familiar with high quality products?
Oh, yeah, I eat this stuff every day.
And what is your opinion?
Honestly? Well, I think your oatmeal sucks. Nobody likes it. I mean, it tastes like dirt. Chewy dirt. And your bologna tastes like rubber. You gotta smother it with mustard so you don't even taste it. But not your mustard, because your mustard tastes like shit. Your Frosted Flakes, it's got half the sugar that Tony the Tiger's does. And your bread just rips apart. I mean, just try spreading peanut butter on it, right in your hands. But not your peanut butter, because your peanut butter sucks.
I don't think this is
What did you ask me?
Miss Connors.
There you go. A description of the financial products in mainstream America and globally. That traditional products suck. There's the description right there, and that's the analogy, okay? So there you have it. So Wall Street can no longer ignore what Saylor is building because the superior asset is Bitcoin, the superior stock in the marketplace is strategy. I'm not going to go with this bonds return number here. This is based on an ETF of negative 18% over several years. So ignore that. Just know that bonds are not doing very well, and MSTR is crushing bonds. So when you look at the performance of bonds in the marketplace and bond ETFs, depending on which ones you're choosing, going with products like Stride and Strife and Strike are going to outperform bonds every day of the week. And going with a company like MSTR obviously is going to crush all of them. So bonds are failing because of inflation and high interest rates. Bitcoin connected companies like MSTR are winning instead. So again, you're just going to see the fixed income money that's sitting there, the $300 trillion of fixed income assets in the marketplace. It's just going to start flowing some of the money out of these bonds and fixed income products into products like Stride, Strife, and Strike. And Saylor is going to continue to crush it and continue to gobble up some of these products in Wall Street. Old finance equals debt. No new story there. New finance equals Bitcoin plus upside plus dividends. And MSTR now has 3% of all Bitcoin on Earth, my friends. 3% of all Bitcoin on Earth. Strategy owns almost 3% of all the Bitcoin ever created. They're not just in the game. They own part of the entire Bitcoin economy. That's significant. Bonds and real estate are losing. This is like a Vanguard fund in real estate plus 9%. Over the same time period where strategy did 3,150%. There's just no comparison. And strategy is eating it up. So the summary of today, and then we'll get into some few additional slides here that I think are going to be very interesting, including what BlackRock's ETF is doing in terms of crushing it with their Bitcoin ETF. So we'll talk about that in just a second. So why MSTR and Bitcoin, the ultimate wealth machine. So again, 3,150% return over a 5-year period, crushing Apple, Nvidia, Tesla, real estate, and bonds. That's what we talked about today. Owns 3% of all Bitcoin on Earth. That's MSTR. Stride, 10% income forever, backed by Bitcoin. Strike and Strife, smart, safe ways to grow your money. Now, strategy is in the Russell Top 200. Wall Street cannot ignore it. And for their new preferred offering with Stride that's already been out in the marketplace, they've raised $4.2 billion using Bitcoin-powered investing tools. So strategy is providing tools and securities in the marketplace for everyday investors now to win, which is awesome. So this was the announcement from Saylor a couple days ago. Strategy announces $4.2 billion Stride at the market program. Super exciting. Strategy has added $21 billion of digital asset values in Q2 2025. That's a report from Strategy, the website itself, or the company, I should say itself, with MSTR, Strike, Strife, and Stride, which is significant. 21 billion of digital assets value added in Q2 2025. Saylor says this in the beginning of the week because they didn't buy anything this week. So it says some weeks you just need to hodl. Look at their Bitcoin value, $64.5 billion. Slamming it in the marketplace. MSTR is amplified Bitcoin. This is what Saylor says. Bitcoin is pure Bitcoin. And then Strike is structured Bitcoin. All three are winning this year. And you look at the performance of them. They're all crushing in the marketplace this year. Look at the performance. It's incredible. Okay. And Chris Mullis is basically saying the same thing here. Michael Saylor says, try Bitcoin. Okay. And then look at BlackRock. Just added 164 million of Bitcoin to their holdings. They now hold over 700,000 Bitcoin. If you looked at my video the other day from 3 days ago, if you look at the fees that BlackRock is earning off the Bitcoin ETF, it's $187 million in annual fees. If you look at the 1,800 different funds that BlackRock has, or 1,900 and counting, Bitcoin is number 3 in terms of the fees that it returns to BlackRock every single year. Do you think they're going to continue to buy more Bitcoin? Do you think they're going to continue to promote Bitcoin when it's one of the largest fee generators for BlackRock? I think so. What do you guys think? Let me hear it, huh? Pretty interesting, huh? Pretty freaking interesting. Okay, then this is from the Bitcoin the Bitcoin conference is posting this. They were hoping for a higher high of 111,000 by the end of the day. They posted this 108,869. We were around 109 today. We didn't quite hit 111. So there you have it. Okay. And the Bitcoin therapist says Bitcoin is hope. And you have Elon Musk saying fiat is hopeless. All right. And we need to hear from another opposed point of view. We had James Belushi just recently talking about the financial products in America and how they suck metaphorically. James Belushi didn't actually say that. I just played a video slide. But here's what's happening with Bitcoin. Here's what's happening with strategy.
Fight as 3 men. And 3 men you are. What will you do without freedom? Will you fight? No! We will run! And we will live. Aye. Fight and you may die. Run and you'll live. At least a while. And dying in your beds many years from now, would you be willing to trade all the days from this day to that for one chance, just one chance, to come back here and tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
All right, there you have it. So that's the idea on what's going on in the marketplace. Freedom from Braveheart, freedom with Bitcoin, freedom with MSTR. And yes, to somebody up here that says MSTR is trading like a stable coin, I forget who that was. Yes, it's chopping sideways. There's always solutions to make money, not financial advice. I've been trading it. You know, it ran up recently, and we went up to 412 or 413 last week. It's now back down to about 396. I have been trading it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Friday, Monday, and Tuesday very profitably. I'm going to continue to trade it every single day because while we're chopping sideways, I'm going to make money off it as well. The ups and downs. So in any case, always a way to make money, always a way to profit, always a way to win. And I hope this serves you guys. Hope you had a good time on this stream. And I will see you very, very soon, sometime later this week. And we'll get in the game and we'll do more fun stuff. Okay. Hope you're having a great rest of the day. Not financial advice, not tax advice, not legal advice. But at the end of the day, I think strategy is a winner. I believe it's a winner, and I believe we're going higher. So I hope it serves you guys. Have a great rest of the day. Stay well.